In my time there, I realized that the hotelier corporate life is not for me.
Okay.
If somebody is in front office, they are expected to pull out 8 hours of duty. But when you're in kitchen, that's a mandate 12 hours. What happened was, I haven't really said this out loud, but I was actually told to quit. And then about 2 months, I was sitting and jobless, like on my parents' couch, living off of their couch and doing absolutely nothing. I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but food industry, there have been so many of them do it at 50, so many of them do it at 100 also.
100?
Yeah. Like if you give people a flourless cake and you give people a flour cake, there will be more bites on the flour cake over a flourless cake.
Hi all, welcome to Strategic Pulse. I'm your host Sudarshan Praveen. Today we have Sara Patka as our podcast guest. She runs a company called Love and Flour, which is a home-based bakery business. In this episode, we will deep dive into how the home-based bakery business runs, the margins of the same, and her take on scalability and sustainability. Stay tuned and watch the entire episode. Thank you. Hi Sara, welcome to the Strategic Pulse. So for all of our viewers who are meeting you for the first time, can you briefly introduce yourself and share all about your business?
Sure. First of all, hi Sudarshan. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm truly, really happy to be here. So I am Sara Patka. I am the chef, founder, and entrepreneur of my baking brand, a decade-old baking brand, Love and Flour. So it's like a confectionery brand that we've built over the last 10 years. And the idea is really simple, that you want to create customized, personalized, made from scratch, made to order desserts, that are also delicious looking and delicious tasting, for, curated occasions, celebratory moments, memories that you want to create. So I'm basically catering to that part of the segment where I want to create memories with my baked goods. And I want to that is like my way of being a part of, those memories and those celebrations.
So how did you get into this? What were you doing priorly that you took a plunge and started this?
Okay, so this has a little bit of story. So this is back in 2013, 14. This is when I was choosing like career lines and, which stream to go to and career options. So earlier I had like no clarity what I want to do. But as a kid, I was very, very inclined to desserts. I was like a big foodie. I have been a big foodie. And I was always very attracted to desserts, when you call it from a perspective of eating or also just from a perspective of knowing, experimenting. So as a kid, I used to like do all of that. But it was never really like, penetrated into me that, oh, this is something that I want to do. This is around when I was choosing career options. I was very, just following what my peers want to do. And everybody was like, oh, let's do mass media. So I was like, chalo, let's do mass media. You're younger, right? You don't know so much. You're like as misguided as everyone. The time that happened, so my family was like, they all sat me down. And, they were all like, that is when the whole brainwashing and all happened. That was like, okay, you have to, this is not, like mass media is not where you're heading. It's not your cup of tea. You think that it is because probably your peers want it and, you are headed there, but it's not. And that night, like I had a revelation of that I should go and choose hotel management. And the thing is that like my family has always been kind of, like kind of observing me and seeing what my likes and dislikes are. And in that journey, they kind of figured it out that, okay, she likes food. She likes, she likes to be in the food and dessert space. Maybe she hasn't explored it, but that's the case. So my family, my parents, everyone was like, they just, gave me that reality check. And they were like, no, we think you should do hotel management. That seems like more like your calling. And I was like, oh, okay, if that's what you guys feel, I guess I'll go ahead with it. And then when I went ahead with it, it was actually around during that journey of doing hotel management. And I had an internship training also that I did at the Taj Mahal Palace. So at my time there, that particular time has really shaped me. Like I've been so blessed and grateful for that time. But basically, it was around then that I found that desserts are my calling. and that is exactly what I want to do. And then one thing led to another, and here we are.
But how did you decide to like pursue it through the entrepreneurship route instead of growing within the system and actually working with Taj and growing there as a chef?
Yeah. So what happened was I was in hotel management, and then I was training at Taj. In my training days, there was a particular instance which I clearly remember. It was at the time I was in the bakery. Okay, I was put in the bakery, and we had to there was a huge party and event that was going to happen. And what happened was, I came to duty and everything, and I see 20 chefs like working at it, for a very big event. And I am given 5 trays and told to be, put like I'm being told that there is no space for you in the bakery, so you go in the freezer and do this. And
Acha.
I was conveniently just pushed into the freezer, and I was told कि तुम ये desserts pipe कर लो. So it was around then, that time. It was literally that moment for me was like my aha moment is when I figured out that, desserts. I mean, because I was in minus 17, 18 degrees in the freezer, and I had like trays of eclairs that needed to be frosted and piped. And in in that thandi, I'm like piping those eclairs. And honestly, I was very happy. Like I was like, I was like smiling,
Okay.
and it was then that I truly like realized that I was like, oh, like look at me. They've put me under extreme temperature, and I yet don't mind doing this. Like I'm enjoying. And like in that time of being in the freezer, my main focus was to pipe them beautifully. That is where my head was, that, oh, I need to get these done right. I was not bothered that, oh, I'm in a chef coat, I'm freezing, I'm literally shivering, and I should stop this and like be like, what the hell. But that was not my focus. My focus was, oh, this needs to be piped properly, this needs to be done properly. So it was then that I realized that desserts is what I want to do. See, because when you go in hotel management also, there are a lot of umbrellas, right?
Right.
There are a lot of departments. You have like your housekeeping, you have your front office, you have your kitchens, and then even in your kitchens there is like you have an F&B, which is your services, and then you've got the back end, which is the kitchen. Even in that, you have like further segregations, right? You have like you have like one kitchen just like for butchery, you have one for just guard manjo, like your salad and cold preps, you have one just for desserts, you have one just for like your hot plates and hot preps. So there are again a lot of umbrellas. There are a lot of further categories into it. So again, kitchen is a very huge umbrella. It's like not like कि आप एक चीज लो और kitchen है तो kitchen में घुस गए. So even when I was there in the kitchen, I was like, food I have a like love towards, but desserts is just something that like I don't know, I just get lost in them for some reason. I have no I mean वो बोलते ना होश खो बैठते हो आप, ऐसे होता है मेरे साथ. So for desserts, that's the case. And it was basically then that I kind of like found that it was, this is what I want to do. And then one thing from there, it was just like, कि, okay, अब ये करना है, ये ठान लिया है, अभी इसी में excel करेंगे. That was the approach.
So that was the approach to continue in the desserts category. But how did you decide to do it independently through like an entrepreneur of going through the...
So this is again, the thing is, all parts of my life, like in terms of all the changes that have happened or all the things that we've laid down, have all like happened because of things that have happened in my journey that I've faced real time. So during my, I was there at the training at Taj, and after that I've worked with Trident and Oberoi's both as like job placements. I was there as a chef. In my time there, I realized that the hotelier corporate life is not for me.
Okay.
Because it was very monotonous. There was no creative space. There was no like अगर आपको for example, if you are in the bakery, and in the bakery you are expected to do cookies, then you are only expected to do cookies. You cannot touch
no
cakes.
Creative liberty.
Yeah, there's no creative. You cannot touch cakes. Like there were definitive
Too
chefs.
much specialization.
Correct. There were definitive chefs, specialized chefs for each thing. Similarly, like when you talk about hot kitchens, there was one dedicated chef for pastas, there was one dedicated chef for pizzas, and you could never really make the switch, you know. And I mean, I understand that perspective, because if you're excelling in that, then you'd rather be doing that. But for someone who is exploring, who is, you know, young, who wants to kind of see what all they can really work around with, there was no creative liberty from that form.
Okay.
And because of which I kind of kept feeling restricted, and I was like, you know, this isn't working for me, because I mean, when your creative liberty is, you know, just like juiced out in a way that you don't want it, it's like, you know, your kind of brain also kind of switches off, right? So you don't want to, like, you know, you're not fully showing up the way you're supposed to, you're not fully in it the way you're supposed to. Every day you're just, you know, waking up like a robot, you know, getting that utna work done, you know, pulling 12 hours, 14 hours every day. And mind you, like, kitchen life is very hectic.
Yeah,
Being a
yeah, yeah.
chef is very hectic. I mean, I don't know why people don't stress enough on it. But, you know, like, if you take about, like, in your normal, if, for example, if somebody is in front office, they are expected to pull out 8 hours of duty. But when you're in kitchen, there's a mandate 12 hours. Goes without saying, you know. So, and nobody really talks about it. That is something that I think should be highlighted, where, you know, दे मतलब वो बोलते हैं ना, आपको घसा देते हैं किचन में, आपको दे रियली just, you know, juice out you completely. And there is no, like, you know, okay, oh, you have to do, there is no concept of 8 hours in the kitchen. There is a minimum concept of 12 hours. Like, 12 hours, if you're not doing, then, you know, like, you're kind of like looked down upon, like, oh, she's the one who did like a 9-hour duty and all, you know. So I think that for me did not sit well. And I said that, you know, this doesn't, like, I want to do this is my cup of tea, but not this way.
Okay.
It has to be at least where I'm able to explore my creativity. Because, I mean, even as a kid, I'm a very creative person. Like, I was never like a studious child. I was more of, you know, creative, like, you know, like doing things out of the box. So I've always been that. And, you know, when your creative freedom kind of gets restricted, then, you know, your performance also comes drastically
True.
down. So
So basically, you wanted that creative liberty to explore and try out your own ways in the desert business. So that's how you ventured out and started your own thing. And so tell us, what is Love and Flower all about? Like, I think you're running this from your home, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I'm running this from my home. So basically, what happened was, like I said, the creativity was done, and the thing is that, I mean, this is something, I guess, I have really not said it out loud. But the fact is that when I was at one time when I was in Trident, and it was around, you know, like, I think 6 months had passed or so. And what was happening was that we were supposed to be reviewed on our performances. And because of this constrict that I was facing, I was underperforming. And what happened was, I mean, I haven't really said this out loud, but I was actually told to quit.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not quit myself. I was told to quit. I was, because my performances were not top notch. And, you know, like, and I personally, I was also like, kind of, you know, it's like, you know, you're not performing well. So, you know, somewhere at the back end that, you know, ये होने वाला है, you know, you're
prepared for it.
probably not going to fit around here, you know. So I think somewhere 20%, 30% at the back of my head that was there. And I think when the news really hit me, of course, like, you know, you have like an emotional breakdown and stuff, but then you kind of come to that consensus where you're like, you knew it, kind of saw it coming, you know. So it came from that. And what happened was, I was told to quit. And then about 2 months, I was sitting and jobless, like on my parents' couch, living off of their couch and doing absolutely nothing. And then what happened, in those 2 months only, I had like a lot of friends, peers and family and, you know, relatives, cousins, everyone, like in general. Luckily, I'm grateful that I have a great support system, but they kind of were like, you know, you can't be like just sulking and, you know, not doing anything. Like, one letdown is not going to, be defining you, that
Right.
who you are and what you are. And then they gave me that and told me like, and then I remember one, family friend suggested that, why don't you start something? And I was like, oh. And what happened with that was that, so this was a little earlier around my in my college years. This is before I did the degree course. This was around junior college basically, and in junior college I candidly like started like a brand called Sweet Passions, which was again on the lines of baking and all. But because I had lacked the knowledge, finesse, professionalism, all of it, I had like, it was like a very impulsive, impromptu thing. And what happened was I made like 30 cupcakes for, like a party, and gave it to all my friends, only to like find out that it was like, I had added like a half cup of baking soda in it. So it was so pungent that, people were spitting it out.
Oh God.
So that was like, like a small attempt at trying this. And because that also, resulted in this form, I don't know, for some reason, my confidence was like zero.
Right.
And when people suggested back later to me that, why don't you start your own thing, I immediately went back to, that instance. And I was like, no, I did that. And like, array, but you've like done proper course now. You know your shit. I mean, pardon my language, but you know your
Niche, yeah.
subject. You get it. You're well more versed. You're more defined. You have more clarity about things. So it was more like from that perspective. And then I said, okay, you know what, like a lot of push there. And then I actually started, sitting with it and doing with it. I said, okay, you know what, let's just do it. Like, let's just see where it goes. And then for good 3 or 4 months, this was around September I started.
Which year is this?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah. September 2014 around I started with like building Love and Fly. And then I unofficially kind of launched it, and then like just with friends and family. And then 3-4 months, like till Jan 2015, I did like proper research, like proper menu building, figuring out pricing, like marketing. And like I had like certain visions in mind, and I had to put it into play, like kya bulana hai, kya karna hai, kaise marketing karenge, and all that. So very 4 months I did that, grunt work. Then 2015 Jan 24th, I started officially, like
Okay.
with proper cards being distributed to everyone, and like, hey guys, I have a brand, and stuff like that. Even on Instagram and all, like I posted out on Instagram. We made an account, put it on our socials and stuff. Tabhi website nahi aayi thi. Website came like much later. Love and Flower is a homegrown brand or a home-based brand. Again, for me to have like a store or independent store or a dessert studio was not something that I could not do. It was just that in my learning days in these hotels, I've been very closely associated by seeing a lot of food wastage, which really traumatized me in a way, and kind of just shaped me as a person. And it was like a calling, like an that you don't, anything to do with food wastage, we're not gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have also, like, as a kid, I have been like a very, like a very proper sober girl, coming from a, decently privileged household. So never really, as a young girl, as a teenager, never really kind of, understood the comprehension of like food wastage. And until when I went to these, when I worked professionally, and when the kind of exposure I saw there when it came to food wastage was just traumatizing to me. So it was then that I was like, it's when I start something of my own, there will be no food wastage.
Okay.
So even like when I was for building Love and Flower and ideating it, it was not like I could not take like a loan from my family or like whatever to build something which is like out of the like outside, like out there as a store. It was only and only like when I thought about it extremely, like from a point of view that I want to create something with a cause, it only and only, like the only answer was home based. You know, because if you think about it, like in the F&B space, if you go to like a thele wala, and if you go to the most luxurious hotel, 10, 5, 20% का food wastage होता है. Because see, like, the thing is that you are building a business which everyone is doing. The fact is that you have to have something slightly, with a cause, or with something where you are trying to see like the better of it, you know. So for me, this was that. And as a person also, like I said, I was very as a teenager, I used to waste a lot of food, and with no nothing clocking that, oh, itna food waste ho raha hai, because you're young, right? You don't know a few things. You're naive. You're not really been exposed to that, to the world, like people say. So it came from there. Yeah.
But don't you think, like, of course, this is a great cause, but doesn't this affect scalability of the business?
Definitely it does. But I also feel that, I don't think that every business has to be scalable. If you look about it, like, there are businesses that are very much scalable. There are businesses that are niche also. There are businesses that are luxe also. Boutique brands. So according, like, from where I see it from, I don't want to build a scalable business. I want to build a business that is boutique based, that
Okay.
people will feel FOMO about. Like, you make your name so much that people are already like talking, wow about you. And and now the thing is that factor of FOMO has come, that everybody's like, oh, this person's really nice, this person's is. I want to build a brand that is remembered on my name, on the way my ethics are, on the way I am doing it. Because I don't see, for every other founder, every other business also is not like, every business does not have every founder's hands in it. You get what I mean? Like, everyone is not doing the grunt work. It's most of the businesses founders are just monitoring. They just have people underneath them.
Right.
With that's not the case. I like to do the grunt work. When somebody orders a cake, I like to be in that process. I want to be able to do see it, because I have done the grunt work. I have done the schooling. I have done I've gained the knowledge. So why not apply it into in a form of experience, right? A customer coming to me and putting their faith in my brand means all the more that I should be doing, I should be overperforming myself. Like, I don't want to be giving that work to someone else who has half the knowledge I do.
But don't you think with proper training, SOPs in place,
100%, 100% it happens. But again, see, for that, the concept will change. Then you cannot be doing it from a house. You
Correct.
need to have a cloud kitchen,
Right.
which means again there will be wastage. So your bigger, larger policy foundation is again getting affected. I mean, Love and Flower is all about customization, personalization. That's a very big chunk of it. That's one of our fortes. So when you are associating with personalization, customization, you have to be able to, have that personal connection and personal touch, so that you are able to build that kind of that connection. Like, today, I have so many clients who are just on the basis of word of mouth. Because XYZ का wedding cake मैंने बनाया, तो वहाँ पर जितने भी गेस्ट आए थे उन्होंने खाया, and they were like, oh, इसका cake बहुत अच्छा है, let's just take her. And then, right from your, and again, like the customer interaction, like, I'm the point to point source in a way. Right from the first association till the last, I am the only person that they speak to. So I think that also builds like a little bit of connection, that builds like a very personal understanding. And I think because of that, it helps ahead in terms of your orders and scalability in terms of, I mean, not that kind of huge scalability, but definitely exploring a larger chunk of audiences.
But having done this business so far, I think you're running this almost since 12 years now. So
Yeah, 11 years. Yeah, we just clocked 11 in
11
Jan.
years. So, and since you're running this independently entirely, so
Yeah.
like, is this financially sustainable? Because if you do it entirely by yourself, probably after a point of time, you might get burnt out. Or even if you don't get burnt out because you enjoy the process so much, I mean, there is a certain kind of limitation to the revenue or the profit margin which you can probably get. So
Correct.
in the long run, I'm talking, is this financially sustainable?
See, it can be. It really depends on how you are advertising and marketing yourself also. No doubts, as like every home baker or any home ventured business have their slow days and fast days. But I also feel that that's a part of the business. Every business is just like every business have profits and losses, right? If you are a huge business and you do, one misstep and you are in so much of loss because of one simple error. Similarly, we have like losses not as such, but we have slow days, where we don't have orders coming in. But I think for us, for me at least, for those slow days are also I'm very grateful for, because that is actually when I can do the back end work. And yes, I agree that at financial scalability in terms of long lasting for ahead in the future, it is definitely dicey, no denials there. But I also feel that, then it is completely, on the founder's approach and what they take it as, and at the end of the day, of course, it's not like you have no savings, you have no nothing. Because see, out of like what, 365 days, I'll probably have a month that is slow, tops.
Okay.
30 days, that's it. The rest of the days are busy as hell for me.
Okay.
So
it's not a seasonal business. You have like.
See, it really depends.
Okay.
Like I have actually seen this where a year for me, like for example, one year in May for me was really slack, but the next year in May for me was really heavy. But that year in June was really slack. So it really depends. It really depends.
There's no set pattern or there's
it's
no...
a set pattern for seasons. Like when you have Diwali and you have like seasonal, this thing, festivals and stuff, then of course, like it's busy as hell. But then there are your slow months also. There are slow months because see, at the end of the day, you're not entirely sure that because there are so many businesses existing and yours is again like a home venture. So again, you have to like understand that it's not necessary that every client will come to you every time for every of its occasion. That thing varies.
Right.
So you have to be open and understanding to that as well, that ठीक है, ये हो सकता है.
Okay.
Plausibility है उसकी, but I think also at the end of the day, like for me, it has been like for the last 10 years has been purely like, of course, we've done our advertisements and marketing, no doubt, but most of it has been on the basis of referrals.
Okay.
Because they have enjoyed the cake, like because they've enjoyed the product, because they've been like, oh, this is delicious. Because again, see, ingredients matter. Ingredients, what you're using, like if for a standalone store may not be as, like they may not be using the plus A grade quality of it. They may be using A grade, but for home bakers, you have the leverage because you don't have rent cost, you don't have electricity cost. You're like, ठीक है, वहाँ पर आप save कर पा रहे हो.
Actually, that was my next question. What is the major cost components involved?
Raw materials mainly.
Sorry? Raw materials.
Yeah,
How much percentage is that of the...
Roughly, I would say about 30%, 25 to 30%. Because again, see, for each product, like especially again when coming to customization. See, if it's like your normal products, like your everyday products, then utna margins utna bada nahi hota, like 20% or under. But if it's your customized products, then definitely it increases.
So this is the cost of raw materials and the final selling price. This is the...
Yeah.
And what are the margins like in general for the business?
See, in the business, that you've got your raw materials, you've got your labor, you've got your advertisements and your marketing, and pretty much these three are like the major components.
Okay.
Everything else is very like is very minor, is like your packaging and all of that is really small chunks, your delivery and all of that is small chunks,
so
very
out
small
of like
percentage.
100%, if you say like 30% goes in raw materials, can you buy...
But 30 also goes like I said, is customized order. Like if it's non-customized, it can be 20 also.
So let's say 20 to 30 raw materials.
Yeah.
What are the other things?
Your next comes your marketing. Marketing would be at somewhere around 10 to 12%.
Okay.
Yeah. Then comes packaging. Packaging would be at about 5.
Okay.
Transport would be between 5 to 10. And labor. Labor is again is subjective because again it's like me solo doing it, right? So that again is...
there's no labor cost for you.
Yeah. Additionally, if you think about it, there's really no labor cost because that's just like, that's me doing it, so that the profits eventually are like, I invest them back into the business. I don't really keep much of profits, but like it's just me. Like apart from that, I have like 1-2 interns who help me like manage social media. But again, that's also like like remote work. Like I don't expect them to come or come. So again, that is like nominal chunks. The major is raw material for sure, because like the ingredients are high at the end of the day. Again, it depends on the quality of ingredients that you use. Like I was saying, that if you are a standalone store, you may not use the plus A grade, you may use A grade. But for us as a home baker, bakers, we have that liberty to choose from it. And see, as a founder, I personally believe that your ingredients should be top notch. And frankly speaking, if I have to pay an extra price for it, I'm ready to, because I don't compromise in quality at all. Because otherwise, that's what I believe. Like for a home baker, why else will a customer approach if your quality is not,
Right.
like top notch?
Yeah. It's mainly
Because
for
otherwise
quality
they
and
have
taste,
so many stores and options to go to.
Right.
They don't necessarily need to come to me. So that is something that I don't compromise in at all. Like I make sure that I use top notch. Like even our flours and cocoa powders, the chocolates that we use, everything is extremely high grade. Like it's expensive. Those are properly expensive. But then that is something, like I feel like if you want your business to sustain and you have so many nooks and corners there, in terms of like, okay, chalo, scalability issue hai, advertising, marketing twice karna pad raha hai. So then for that you need to be able to have like something to have your audience come back for. That has to be there.
And how do you approach pricing? Like, did you do cost plus pricing ki ye kharcha and you'll add your profit margin and that's how you priced it?
Yeah.
So
that way only.
So from what I understand, it's around 50% profit margin, because since you don't have labor.
You can say 50%. Yeah, basically that. But also like in the food industry, if I tell you, lots of them are like, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but food industry, there have been so many of them do it at 50, so many of them do it at 100 also.
100?
Yeah.
How so?
Because profit margins उसका differ करते हैं, and eventually they buy in bulk. They buy their ingredients in bulk because they have that much of running operations, right? If you are like standalone stores, 6 stores across Bombay, you have already that much raw materials that you're taking in bulk, which again come to you at a decently lesser rate. So आपका जब buying ही इतना less हो जाता है, तो आपका like they add 100%, so many, especially in the food F&B industry, because and then of course like if you talk about per plate or per serving kind of a concept, then definitely they do. Some of them, I'm not saying all of them, of course it differs between 50 to 100, but those who have like very heavy running operations, they definitely have good profit margins.
So specifically catering to the the dessert section which we are speaking about presently, you think with scale the profit margins increases?
It definitely does, because again you are the same concept applies.
Operating leverage kicks in.
Yeah, same concept applies, right? It definitely does.
So what are the operational risks of running this business from your home?
See, operational risks are so many. Like you have to, just the fact that you are not you are doing it from home restricts your last minute orders, restricts your walk-ins automatically, because of a standalone store. आप जाओ, बाजू में आपको स्टोर दिखा, आप चले गए, आपने खरीद लिया, आपने ले लिया, हो गया. For a home venture, that's not the case. So that way it becomes, it becomes difficult. But otherwise, operation wise, for me, honestly, it's been pretty smooth, because I have a system of how I do things. Like I have a breakdown of how I do it. Like I break down my work into various categories. Like if I have a baking job, then it'll be like, okay, from morning 6 to 8, I'll just bake, and then it progresses to decorating it, and then layering it, assembling it, getting it done. So I have a whole SOP kind of set in my own way, so that I am not hampered. And the thing is with desserts, the biggest thing that people don't understand is that there's a lot of wait time involved. There's a lot of waiting time. You have to cool it, you have to freeze it, you have to cook it in the oven, then you have to rest it to a temperature. There's a lot of wait time involved. So luckily for me, that comes and works in my favor, because if I have to cook a dessert, and if say for example I have 10 desserts in a day, then the ones that I have to cook are getting cooked, and the ones that are already cooked, like I kind of divide it, like I do batches, and then once getting cooked will be doing their cooking bit, and then the ones that are already cooked will go to decoration and the next steps further, basically.
Okay. So also like right now, right? There's a like trend going on of people moving towards healthy desserts, gluten free,
Yes.
sugar free.
Yes.
So
Oh God.
like, what's your view on that? And are you in the same line, or do your desserts contain sugar and gluten?
So no, so Love and Flower is not a healthy brand. We
Okay.
do not brand ourselves as a healthy brand. We do use sugar, butter, flour, because personally, again, as a founder, I believe that if you eat something, you eat it as a whole.
Okay.
Like I understand that people are getting more into health, and I'm not like it's a very touchy topic for me, because it's like like I mean that's just how we've been born and brought up. Like we've been like अगर हमको dessert खाना है तो हम we always imagine the cream and the sugar and all. I understand that it's like ever changing and ever evolving. I'm not the most biggest fan of healthy desserts. I have had a few, although, but I'm not like a biggest, because I personally feel that when you remove certain components from a dish, the dish doesn't resemble its true authenticity, right? And that applies not just to desserts but to any like food related thing. That's what I tell my customers or anyone who speaks to me about this front, is that see, if you are a trainer, if you are someone into fitness, there are days that you have cheat days too, right? It's not like you don't have cheat days. So on your cheat days, are you eating like a vegan burger, or are you eating like a vegan pizza or something like that? No, right? You're having the pizza with the cheese, with the bread. So my contrast to this is the same. If you have the dessert, have it as a whole. Don't eat it every day. Who's asking you to eat every day? You have portion sizes. You limit down your portions. But again, having to say that does not mean we won't be having a healthy line. It's just not there yet. We just don't have it yet.
Okay.
But also when we do it, we want to make sure that it's like a A plus, A grade dessert that people will truly love. Because today also I personally eaten so many of them, and it's like like if you give people a flourless cake and you give people a flour cake, there will be more bites on the flour cake over a flourless cake.
So we have a few rapid fire questions for you.
Oh yes.
What's one dessert trend that looks fancy but is overrated?
I would say, I don't know if I'll get cancelled for this, but I would say cronut. I don't know if you've heard about it. So there's a concept, I don't think it's landed in India yet, but there's a concept called cronut in abroad, where it is like a baby of a croissant and a donut.
Acha.
Yeah. So I think you must have recently seen this croffles that people... So that's also again like croissant and waffle ka mix. So I think all these mixed desserts that people are doing, some of them are good. Like croffle I really like. I've had it myself. I enjoyed it. I had some savory one. But I don't know, this cronut doesn't sit well with me in my head. It's just, I feel like some you can like just mix and beautify, but some are just like, what? Of the head, It's like, why you even do it?
One ingredient you'll never compromise on?
I'd say butter for sure, and even vanilla. I think vanilla brings like some amazing taste to your dessert that a non-vanilla dessert doesn't. So and when I say vanilla, I mean like the proper beans, like the vanilla pods that come. There are these pods that come vanilla. They're super expensive, no doubt. But it's like you slit open. It's like a bean of sorts, like, so you slit open it, and you've got the inside the pure vanilla that comes out of it. It's too good. And even butter, like according to me, butter adds like a lot of richness to your desserts. So, and it adds like a lot of shine, a lot of gloss to it. So these two items for sure.
What's one ingredient people misuse the most?
Salt, for sure. Because like salt again is very, like थोड़ा सा कम डालो and under वो हो जाता है, and थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा डालो बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है.
One mistake most home bakers don't realize they're making.
One mistake, I think two things I would like to point out. One is over mixing. is something that people don't realize. And even temperatures, that is something where home bakers go easily wrong. You have to those two things का proper knowledge होना चाहिए. Like you need to understand when to stop mixing, because if you, again, with batters and stuff, if you overmix, like for example in cookies, if you, when you add flour and when you mix, there is a certain point when you need to stop mixing, because the minute you overmix, your cookies become really dry. It makes the batter super dry, and then eventually in the temperature, it doesn't come out as a really good cookie. So that, and even temperature controls, like some, I feel like home bakers also have like a distinctive understanding of everything to be cooked at one temperature, which is again like a myth. You cannot be cooking like everything at 150 degrees or 180 degrees. There are different temperatures that need different, products that need different cooking. So temperature is one and over mixing is second.
Okay. So, Sara, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Darshan, for having me. It was lovely. I hope I could have, I've added a little bit of,
Value,
insights to this. And I hope that the audience that will read and hear from it will resonate, and, it'll help them also in their own careers.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode till the very end. If you found this episode to be valuable and insightful, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And let us know in the comment section below your takeaways from each of our episodes. Thank you.